It's Mark Molnar as your host for Weather Northeastern. Let's get into some viewer-sent videos. Lucas from Linden, Texas, showing off a beautiful blue jay here, a young jay across the Linden, Texas area, the piney woods. You can see all the snow is pretty much all but melted away across the area. And as you can hear the jay in the background here. So very nice, Lucas, showing the essence of spring and making a lot of us up north very jealous. The next one will make you also very jealous. Look at this, all the dew forming. It looks like a springtime morning across the Linden area with plenty of dew forming on the plants, looking very nice across the area. And hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks we can start seeing scenes like this across the north. But spring is definitely sprung across the Linden area, and as we get right into his last video here, you can really see that spring is sprung. The snow and the ice that you received a couple weeks ago, all gone, and this bird is scurrying for food across the Linden area, looking very nice, and the sounds of spring are in the air. Speaking of spring, take a look at these precipitation totals, especially along the Gulf Coast, Texas, over to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, the Carolinas, all looking at liquid form here, showers and thunderstorms likely, some of them heavy. We get up the East Coast here towards the Mid-Atlantic, portions of the Northeast. Some of this could be in the form of a frozen variety, particularly from late Thursday into early Friday. If we can get some heavier precipitation totals, some of that could cause some adiabatic cooling, and we could have some bursts of heavier snow up here. Let's take a look at that scenario for your heading on into Thursday night into Friday. As I was mentioning, low pressure will be moving up just east of the Appalachians, just off Norfolk, Virginia, and then off the coastline here. It will spin some moisture inland here, and we'll have some overrunning as well. And as I said, especially late Thursday night, early Friday morning, that's where the best shot of snowfall, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, the eastern and southern Poconos, the eastern and southern Catskills, the lower Hudson River Valley. We'll be watching for a burst of heavier snow here, which could accumulate to at least a couple inches, so we'll watch for that. Now, there's some areas that see lighter precipitation that will stay drizzle or light rain. It's the areas that get the heavier precipitation stand the chance of getting that colder air brought down from the upper levels of the atmosphere to produce snow. So we'll watch it here at MeteoMark. We have a couple days to watch this, and it looks like a very interesting feature as this undercuts a ridge of high pressure over the eastern Great Lakes. Let's take a look at that long-term, at least medium-term pattern here through next week. From about the end of this week through next week, look at this ridge out west, not helping you with the drought, but back east here, there is hints that there could be some potential east coast systems next week, and some of these could drag down some colder air, so winter may not be done with the east just yet across the eastern portion of the United States, to say the least, even though the calendar by this point of time will say springtime. So let's get right into those precipitation amounts and surface maps and all your temperature outlooks across the Northeast, starting with your Wednesday. Take a look at this. We've got the potential here for some snow showers here across the eastern Great Lakes up towards the White Mountains, St. Lawrence Valley, but pretty much we're going to remain the story to be cold across much of the area. Temperatures only holding into the upper 20s and lower 30s across much of the eastern Great Lakes, upstate New York, Susquehanna River Valley. And it's not until you get to Harrisburg or New York City that you start to get into some milder temperatures into the 40s. It'll still be blustery across much of the region, though. As you can see, winds will be blustery, especially after this past Tuesday, where winds were really whipping across the Northeast. Heading on into your Thursday, we start to clear things out across the area, and temperatures, to say the least, will be pretty much mid to upper 30s across much of the region. Very uneventful. Heading on into Friday here, this is where things start to get interesting. We start to potentially, Thursday night into Friday, this low pressure system exits, and there will be mixtures of rain and snow across the area depending on not just elevation, whether you're in the Poconos, Catskills, or a valley location or river valley, but even the valley locations could potentially see a burst of heavier snow, especially in southeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, southeastern New York, just northwest of New York City, and heading down towards Maryland and DC. This is where we could see a burst of heavier snow if the precipitation gets a little bit on the heavy side, especially late Thursday night into early Friday morning. We will continue to fine-tune this because there's a lot of mesoscale dynamics involved in this, and the southern Poconos, eastern Poconos, and the eastern Catskills, this could get really interesting for you too. You could end up with at least a couple inches out of this late Thursday night, early Friday morning, when the sun isn't such a big factor. The sun angle's pretty high this time of year, so once it gets about high noon onward, it's really, really tough to get some snow accumulation. Now, heading on into Saturday, we start to get a little bit of a warm-up, but I warn you, this will be short-lived because we're looking at a cold week next week after these cold fronts from southern Ontario push through. So that's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. I'm going to have a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers in the Susquehanna region of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania from Binghamton, Scranton, and Elmira. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark. Subscribe to me at YouTube at MeteoMark, comments, Twitter at WX Northeastern, and Google Plus at MeteoMark. Here's that 5-day, heading on from Wednesday all the way through your Sunday. Take a look at this. Wednesday, we're pretty much looking at temperatures into the upper 20s, near 30 degrees, blustery and cold, scattered snow showers and rain shower. Well, there'll be pretty much snow showers at these temperatures. And then heading on into Thursday, mostly sunny, temperatures heading up towards the mid to upper 30s. Friday, look at this, we start to get into the near 40 degree range into Saturday as well. It's Friday, we could see some rain and snow showers, but I don't expect the precipitation to be heavy enough in the Twin Tiers of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania to get into any heavier snow totals. Any snow totals will be very quickly into the early morning hours of Friday morning and mainly on the grassy surfaces, but that will quickly melt away. Heading on into Saturday, we get up towards the 44 degree mark. Before Sunday, we start to crash towards the upper 20s. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.